And when I was younger and I was more naive, I used to say to my dad, I used to say to Joe, I used to say to people on Twitter, I used to say to my friends, listen, history's great, but it doesn't mean anything. But at 40 years old, I've realized that that is a lie.
That is what?
This franchise, the New York Jets, have not won a football game against the New England Patriots since Barack Obama was president. They haven't won a football game against the New England Patriots since Eric Decker was catching a touchdown in the end zone in overtime. They haven't won a football game against the New England Patriots since the New York Mets were the reigning National League champions and the Kansas City Royals were the world champions. This football team has not beaten the New England Patriots in well over 2,800 days. Last year, they needed to beat this football team. They couldn't do it either time. And they made up new creative ways to lose to the Patriots. A John Franklin Myers roughing the passer penalty. A game in which Robert Saleh falls asleep and doesn't change his quarterback and they lose on a walk-off punt. So here's where I am in 2023. Whether the coach wants to admit it, whether you want to admit it, whether anyone else wants to admit it. Until they do it, I don't buy it.
So wait,
they can't beat this football team. They haven't done it. I don't want to hear the Brady excuse because Tom Brady hasn't played for the Patriots in years, and they were losing to Cam Newton, and they were losing to Mac Jones. So call me crazy. Until they beat this freaking football team, I don't believe they're going to beat this freaking football team.
You sound like a depressed fan with false enthusiasm who's trying to make an excuse so that when you're surprised by them winning, you feel like, I don't know, you feel extra elated. I don't know. It's like you're bringing yourself down before the game is even close to getting kicked off. It's Wednesday, and you're already feeling the negativity about a 14-game streak, which, just so you know, is irrelevant.
Oh, no. No.
Nothing.
Don't do this, Tiki. Don't, because here's the thing. Robert Saleh met the media about an hour ago, and he played the same crap card you're about to play,
because
which
it's true.
Oh, really? You know who didn't play that card?
Who?
You know who didn't fall to this? Well, it doesn't matter. You know who went to the microphone and said, we're going to beat their ass, and then did it?
Who?
Rex Ryan. He acknowledged it.
Oh, so wait, so you're inventing ways now.
I'm not inventing anything.
Hold on, you're inventing ways to criticize your head coach who's stating the obvious. Things that happened in the past do not affect what's happening right now. I know we want to say that it does, that there is some, I don't know, ghost of Tom Brady.
How dare you use that word, by the way?
Some ghost of Tom Brady that is sitting over top of this Jets, I don't know, Florham Park facility over on One Jet Way and just, I don't know, creating negative juju so that when they go out on the field on Sunday, it's going to be ugly and nasty and they're going to make mistakes that they normally wouldn't. Whatever the circumstance is going to cause them to lose. You're saying that there's some supernatural phenomenon from previous seasons that's affecting this year. That makes no sense to me because the game is played in real time. This is a different set of players than have been in the history of this 14-game losing streak. It's somewhat of a different set from last year because there's more offensive skill position players. There's a healthy Breece Hall. There's depth and experience now in the defense. Like it's a completely different situation. So how can it be related to what happened in the past? That's all I'm saying.
Well, first of all, in these 14 games, 4 of them were quarterbacked by Zach Wilson. 4 of them were head coached by Robert Saleh. It is the most.
It's the most.
And in 6 of the 14 games, that ghost Tom Brady wasn't the quarterback they were facing. So this streak has extended far beyond the Patriot dynasty and the Patriot dominance. And whether Robert Saleh wants to admit it or not, it does involve him because last year involves him. And here's the reality about last year. Just so you know this about me. Last year, I didn't sound like this. No. You know how I sounded last year?
Tell me.
This is how I sounded. I think the Jets are going to kill them. I stand by it.
Come on.
I think they're going to crush them. They are going to leave absolutely no doubt on Sunday afternoon at Gillette. We're going to kick their asses. Who's that guy?
Yeah. So what did you say the year before?
I'm a loser.
I don't remember the year before.
And the year before that.
Well, what I know
And
is
the year before that.
What I
and
know
the year
is,
before that.
But what I know, Tiki, is last year I did believe. Last year I was arrogant. Last year I was cocky, and I had football reasons for it. And then I witnessed the Jets jet in a way that has reminded me that I can never confidently pick them to beat the Patriots until they do it.
Did you just make the word jet into a verb?
Yes.
You just jetted the Jets.
Yes.
You just made them a verb.
Well, they are
so
a verb.
When something bad happens, it's a jet.
Yeah, but something bad doesn't have to happen. It's already happened. Like, it's happened a million times. Like, last year was the year. Last year was the year where this streak was never going to be talked about again. Like, I never thought I was going to have to sit here in 2023 and recite numbers that make me sick to my stomach, because I believed that last year this team was good enough. This team was better than New England, that they were going to beat them. And they found ways creatively to not get destroyed by the Patriots, which they've had many times in this streak, 33-0, 54-13. Like, there's a lot of them. They found a way to lose last year. And Robert Saleh, the man who's telling me don't think about the past, was a big damn part of it. John Franklin Myers, who's going to be on the field on Sunday, was a big damn part of it. And Zach Wilson, the quarterback of this team, he was a part of it. So you don't get to walk in here, no matter who you are on this roster, and say, well, that has nothing to do with me. You do have some blood on your hands because you've been involved in the last couple of games of this streak.
Yada, yada. You're just making things up to make you feel negative. I'm just trying to think of ways to use jet as a verb. Right? Zach Wilson jetted the fourth quarter against the Dallas Cowboys.
Zach Wilson's not good. This season got jetted 4 plays into the year.
Aaron Rodgers' Achilles got jetted when he stepped backwards.
Am I
Game
wrong?
one.
Am I wrong, though?
God, last night I really had a big dinner. I had to go home and jet.
Last night, the Mets jetted a game against the Miami Marlins. For those that saw it. But am I wrong, though? Like, am I wrong?
Yes, you're wrong for making the Jets a verb. But other than that, look, you're emotionally caught up in the negativity.
I'm a baby.
Yes, you are a baby. You're emotionally caught up in the negativity. But practically, the Jets have as good a chance this year, maybe, as they ever have had. And it's not because of Zach Wilson and, he's gotten better. He learned from his experience a year ago, and he's never going to be immature like that. Or, he played better than the numbers actually said, which is what I read today from the Cowboys game. It's really because, first of all, the New England Patriots are not that great of a team.
They weren't last year either.
Kick their asses.
Yeah, but they're not that great of a team. Yeah, I know Bill O'Brien is there, and Mac Jones can do X, Y, Z. But the Jets got bum rushed by a Cowboys team who was pretty good. And we saw this with the Giants in week 1.
Yeah.
We saw it against the Jets in week 2. We'll see what happens in their subsequent weeks, but I think the Cowboys are actually pretty good.
Yeah.
The Jets actually have a resiliency about them that I'm interested to see, right? You have one good game, you have one bad game, and then you know what? You're out of your preseason. Because, I mean, Lukey was saying this in the pre-show meeting, and I think he's right. These first 2 games in the NFL, for all the teams, they're sloppy, they're nasty, they're disgusting. Guys getting hurt. It's almost like the preseason, right? But by week 3, you better start getting it right. So I think the real team, the real identity of teams in the league start to show themselves this week. And that's the test for the Jets against a team that they just simply can't beat, even though that's historical nonsense. That's not reality.
So last year, remember that football season?
I remember last year.
So the Jets had a 4-game winning streak last year. They had this great comeback against the Steelers. Good job by Zach Wilson.
Yep.
They beat the daylights out of the Dolphins. They knocked Teddy Bridgewater out of the game 1 play in.
Yep.
They beat the immortal Aaron Rodgers, and then they beat the Broncos. They had a 4-game winning streak. They were 5-2. I was giddy as all hell. Why wouldn't I be? And then in their own building, they lost a game to the New England Patriots that they had. Mm-hmm. It was in their pocket if JFM doesn't get called for a roughing the passer penalty. And even after that, they had opportunities and they lost. They responded to that loss with the best win of the year last year by going and beating the Buffalo Bills at MetLife Stadium.
Yep.
They then had a bye week. Evan went on the radio and got cocky. and said, we're going to take their soul, we're going to kick their ass, we're finally going to beat the streak.
I love that you're talking about yourself in the third person.
I know. What happened? I think Loogie's rubbed off on me.
You're getting a little crazy, I think.
We are going to kick their asses. Then they lose 10-3 on a walk-off punt. So last year was the year. If you're wondering why now, why did it take 14 games? Why did it take 2,800 games or days? It's because of last year. They were better than the Patriots last year. They were playing their best football against the Patriots last year. And twice they found new creative ways to lose. And no, I don't think it's magic, Tiki. I don't believe in ghosts like Sam Darnold. You know what I think it is? I think it's Bill.
I didn't do that on purpose, by the way.
No, I did.
I did not.
It's Bill. Because on the other sidelines, the New England Patriots have a coach who's not only 50 times better than Robert Saleh, not only does he get uber-inspired to kick the Jets' ass every time he sees them, but you're facing Vince Lombardi. You're facing the greatest coach of all time, and no matter what, whether it's Mac Jones, whether it's Cam Newton, whether it's Tom Brady injured, which happened in one of these games in the winning streak, they find a way. So I'm sorry. Like, I can't sit here and just tell you, you know what? The defense will bounce back. This will happen. That'll happen. For 14 straight games, for 2,800 days, we have witnessed the New England Patriots do whatever they want with this franchise. And coming off of Sunday against the Dallas Cowboys, why the hell would I expect anything else?
Well, hold on. So I think you want this to be, first of all, you're singing a sob story again. It's just like every day. Is he a sob guy every day?
Big sob guy.
Wasn't I confident last week? I was cocky last week.
Yeah, but I mean, I've heard the sob music, and it comes out, I don't know, just whenever you start to get, like, weepy.
That's Loogie's fault.
5 times a week now.
I don't know. It's like this impression has settled in. You're 1-1. I mean, calm down. So Robert Saleh talked about this, right? He talked about this 14-game losing streak to the New England Patriots. And, yeah, maybe he sounds a little like he's saying it's nothing like I'm saying. Let's listen to it because I think it's important to hear because I want to tell you what he's actually saying.
We got to focus on the moment. I get what happened in the past, but looking in the past and dwelling on the past and what could have been is just taking away from what we can do now. And what we can do now is prepare to be the best we can and focus on us and how we need to execute to be able to put our best foot forward on Sunday. And that's really where the focus has to be. Yes, it's New England, and it's a division game, and the past is the past. But all our focus is on today, trying to be our best version of ourselves, so we can find a way to get this one on Sunday.
He's like a kindergarten teacher. This guy.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. He said that intentionally because you know what he did?
What?
He went right to his team meeting. And because Jim Fossil used to do the same thing. He'd have this benign whatever with the media. And then he'd get in our meeting room and start cussing and yelling and screaming and talking about the money, the line, the spread. These blanks have us as 3-point underdogs at home to this team. I guarantee you Robert Saleh has a completely different demeanor when he's talking to his team. He doesn't want to blow this up. He doesn't want to give Bill Belichick billboard material or whoever else is in New England paying attention. He doesn't want billboard material, but this means something to him. You know it means something to him because it's 14 in a row. Think of how they lost both those games a year ago. Yes, he may sound calm, but I guarantee you he is fired up about this game. And I promise you that 14-0, or I guess from their perspective, 0-14 is plastered somewhere in that locker room.
But over the last, forget just the 14 games, over the last 2 decades since Bill Belichick has taken his throne as the king of the NFL in New England.
Yeah, he sits on it and he jets.
The only coach that has beaten him a couple of times in meaningful ways was Rex Ryan. He's the only guy.
Yes.
He was the guy that walked into this town, and I know it pissed a lot of people off, and said, I'm not here to kiss the rings of Bill Belichick.
Which is great.
It was great. He was the guy that put an emphasis on, we have to beat the Patriots. And you know what he did in his first year here? They won a game against the Patriots. They split the season series. They did. You know what they did in the second year against the New England Patriots? They won a game. They split the season series. And then, they won a playoff game in Foxborough. Now, after that, it was all downhill. Okay, I want to be honest about it. After that, it was a freaking disaster. But for the first few years, Rex talked big, talked about the importance of it, and then backed it up. So I don't think we need a kindergarten teacher to tell us about the moment and focusing on today, and history doesn't matter, because the only guy that's come in here and had any success against these evil bastards from Boston is the guy that did talk a big game.
Yeah.
And he backed it up.
But it's also his personality, right? You got to expect him to be that way. You can't be fake to your personality because people see through it. Your players will tune you out if they think you're full of it. And so he did that because that's just how he was. I'm sure he had that conversation the same way with his team. So what Robert Saleh does and how he gets his team ready, I don't know. I'm not in that locker room. We don't see it. I think we saw a little bit of this in Hard Knocks, how he gets fired up sometimes. But I know that he always is going to put the right face on in public and say the right things in public because he doesn't want to put the billboard material out there. And I don't blame him, right? So much of football and preparation is how are you motivated. And I trust Robert Saleh's motivating these guys the right way. Now, I think because they have such a young team, a lot of these guys, you start talking about, we've lost 14 times. And they're like, okay, coach, I don't care. I was at Alabama, right? I was at the University of Georgia.
Okay.
I was at Old
Tiki,
Dominion. I was at wherever.
I want to counter that point because I've heard this a lot. Well, we weren't a part of the losses in 2017.
Yes. And if I'm on that team right now, and someone says to me, oh, you guys have lost 14 in a row, I'm like, I don't care.
I got a question.
What does that mean for me?
I'm going to prove you wrong with an analogy about life. You meet a girl, fall in love. Everything's great. You have a great relationship. She got cheated on. Before you. You didn't do it, but she got cheated on.
So she's scarred.
Yeah.
And she doesn't trust you.
Yeah. You're going to have to live with what Paul did. I'm sorry. You are. Like, I didn't cheat on her. You didn't cheat on her. But that's SOB. Paul did. And guess what?
That Paul, he jetted on her, man. Jacked up, man. So jacked up.
So when you stay out late that night and she's concerned, it has nothing to do with what you did, but it's what Paul did in 2017. Well, here's newsflash for Garrett Wilson. It's not you, but when Austin Seferian-Jenkins is called for a fumble through the end zone, you have to live with the residue from every single Jet fan who remembers it. It wasn't you. You didn't do it. You didn't see ghosts that night, Zach, though you are 0-4 against the Patriots. You have to live with it. Those are the scars that come from a prior relationship. So I would say this to you if you were a Jet, deal with it. And I think that analogy is spot on.
By the way, Zach didn't see ghosts because he hasn't seen anything in 4 games with that.
Stop.
But Tiki, he's missing the big point here. He brought up last year and what happened before the Pat game. You know what else happened the week before the Pat game?
Tell me.
Breece Hall went down for the year, okay? And Breece Hall is coming off a 4-carry game where everybody's very aware. Breece Hall is the difference in why you're going to win this game Sunday, Evan. And you need to man up and understand you have an all-world running back that now is already angry that he's got 4 carries. This is the Breece Hall game to snap the streak, and you got to believe in our Jets here.
I'm
Sunday,
a baby.
Evan.
Our Jets.
My Jets, your Jets, our Jets.
I'm a baby.
Believe.
I can't be alone here of Jet fans who are scarred, who are beaten, and have zero faith going into Sunday.
I'm a loser.
Because 14 is an awfully big number. And you know what else is an awfully big number?
2 touchdowns.
Okay, 2 touchdowns. Do the math. What's 410 points? Because that's how many points the Jets have allowed in the 14 games to the Patriots. How many touchdowns is that?
That's 10 games of 2 touchdowns.
Yeah? And you know how many points they've scored in these 14 games?
How many?
Think about it. They've given up 410, which is an awfully big number. They've scored 153. They have been outscored 410 to 153 over these 14 games.
Wow.
If you average it out to an average final score, the final score is 30 to 11. On average, the New England Patriots have not just beaten the Jets over these 14 games, and don't tell me they're irrelevant. They have taken our soul, they've shoved it down our throat, and Bill has a big laugh about it.
The Jets killed Carl.
So what are you going to do about it?
Win. That's the only thing they can do about
What are
it.
you going to do about it? You can't talk and cry and scream and whine about it.
Well, that's what I'm going to
about it.
That's what I'm going to do about it. I'm a baby. What I'm going to do about it is tell you I've got no faith in Sunday.
That's not what the Jets are doing about it. I guarantee that.
Well, you know what? Here's the message Robert Saleh has to have to his
We've got
team.
a damn good football team.
Yeah, win. Because there's no excuse anymore. I don't care what the spread is. I don't care who the quarterback is. You have to beat this football team.
We've got a damn good football team.
Well, prove it. Prove it. Beat this football team. They've got to. Not only for standings, not only for Zach, not only for Salah, but you know who they have to win this game for?
You.
For us poor suckers.
For you.
For all of us.
For you.
14
So you
games in
can
a
get
row.
your sanity back.
Yes. I'm a loser.
So you don't come in on a Wednesday and act like a loser.
We are coming to you live from the Town Fair Tire Studios, powered by Town Fair Tire. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. We'll get your calls next, 877-337-6666. And also, I've always observed this over the last couple of years, and I think it's definitely come to fruition. For us as New Yorkers, even though we are a split group of fans, this team's the most hated Boston team now. Like, it was the Red Sox for many, many years. I think that the Yankee-Red Sox rivalry cooling off, the Patriots, even without Tom Brady, continuing to beat us, I think it's only added that this is the team from Boston that we all hate the most.